Hello, my beautiful anomalies, and welcome back. I'm Estrella, your lovely host. Today, our case is a sleepy one. I'll do this case. Eyes on the road. You may find yourself looking over your shoulder, wondering if you are not alone. You may even wish to pay more attention in the future. Let's get into it. Marcus Ellery, a 24-year-old rideshare driver living in Chicago. He has dark brown hair and wears it in a short, shaggy style. He's a pretty tall guy, around 6 feet tall. A little on the skinny side, but has well-defined muscles. He is not a fan of facial hair, so he's constantly clean-shaven. And he drives a Honda Civic. It was a high school graduation gift from his parents. Having a reliable car to get around to work, errands, etc. is very much needed. I personally know the struggle of having a broken down car. I always needed to ask coworkers for rides to and from work, having to wake up early if I needed to, so that way I could get a ride. I'm thankful now that I have a perfectly good running car. He's only been working as a rideshare driver for about 2 years or so. He was working at an egg breaking factory, but they ended up closing their doors. They just couldn't keep people around. It was like a revolving door in that place. We'll get to his dream career here in a little bit, but for now, let's continue with the rest of his family. He has a younger sister named Jessie. She is also 24 because Jessie is Marcus's twin. Jessie typically wears her hair in box braids, super long. She's a really pretty girl. She took after her mother with her bright amber eye color, and Marcus took after their father with the dark hazelnut color. Jessie works as an EMT, so she basically works alongside their parents. Which their parents, Tabitha and Henry, both work for the Chicago PD. Tabitha, or Tabby, who her friends call her, is a short gal with a pixie cut hairstyle. Don't let her size fool you though. She is well trained in hand-to-hand combat due to her being in the armed forces for 8 years. And Henry is a tall gentleman, a hair shorter than Marcus. They still really don't know how Marcus got his height. Everyone else in his family is shorter than he. My little brother is the same way. He is 2 years younger than me, and he is a foot or more taller. Both of our parents are super short, so it's a wonder where the height comes from. Genetics are weird, man. Marcus has a girlfriend of 2 years. Her name is Rachel. She's a shorter lady and wears her hair in a bun mostly, but when she takes it out, her hair goes basically to her bottom. I've always been jealous of women who can grow out their hair that long. Mine just grows and then stops at a certain point. He had met her while giving her a ride back to her apartment. They chit-chatted the whole ride, and Marcus even had taken a little detour around, going the long way just to talk to her more. Hitting it off almost instantly, Rachel had given Marcus her number, and then they started dating. Rachel works at a law firm as an accountant. They have plans to have children in the future, but for now they just want to focus on their relationship. Even though Marcus's parents support him fully, they were hoping he would join the police force just like them. But what Marcus really wants to do is open up his own cafe. He just moved out of his parents' house and into a place with Rachel in the heart of Chicago, a better area for lots of ride-sharing possibilities. You know what else is a possibility? You click on that like, share, subscribe, and hit that noti bell while you're down there. It was around 1:30 a.m. on July 29th, 2020. It was a really quiet night on the road, and Marcus was heading back home from a drop-off to the opposite side of Chicago from his place. And if you've ever been to Chicago, you know how bad the traffic can be, so this was a sigh of relief for Marcus. And let me know down in the comments if you've ever been to Chicago. I have been there quite a few times, and it's a beautiful place, but traffic is just awful. I hate it. I hate it so much. He was just kind of zoning out, didn't get much sleep, and it was a really long shift. I'm sure y'all have had the same feeling, just kind of there after a long day at work. Then these things just rolled out in front of his car, about the size of footballs, but alive. One orange and one yellow. They had big eyes, no faces or anything, just one huge eyeball. Kind of sounds adorable, not even gonna lie. Marcus at first thought it was just some kids with RC toys or something, but that wouldn't make any sense considering how late it was. They kept with him as he drove on. They rolled up onto his hood of his car and just started spinning and bouncing like they were trying to get his attention. Marcus waved his hand to try to shoo him away, and then they hopped off the hood and onto the side of the road again to continue their manic jumping up and down, trying to get him to look ahead. He squinted down the road. Just about 100 meters up the road was a semi that was jackknifed across both lanes. Just around a curve in the road. No lights on, no warning signs. Marcus slammed on his brakes. If he would have kept going, he would have slammed into it full speed. His heart was just beating out of his chest, as I'm sure you guys would have the same exact reaction. He would have had just died if it wasn't for those two. Let me know down in the comments also if you have had any near-death experiences. I personally haven't, but I'm more than happy to read your guys's, so just let me know. He pulled over to the side of the road and called in the accident, and when he had tried to thank the little guys, they were both just gone. According to an interview that Gary got a snippet of, Marcus doesn't know what they were, but they saved his life, and he was sure of it. And this was an encounter with SCP-131A and B. They are nicknamed iPods, not to be confused with iPod. They are about a foot tall in height, and they seem to have the intelligence of common house cats and are incredibly curious creatures. They are extremely responsive to any affection given to them by humans. They only communicate with each other with high-pitched babble that still remains to be translated. They can sense danger in their general vicinity, which is how they were able to warn Marcus of the impending danger. The creatures had been briefly accounted for when a containment door malfunctioned during a routine cleaning and left the site via a service tunnel. They were found and safely returned to the site after getting Marcus's testimony of the incident. They both received extra treats and playtime when they returned. Marcus received amnestics due to the encounter, and after his aforementioned interview was taken home without any recollection of these creatures. As safe as they are, no one is supposed to know about them. Which over here on Site 30 is why I am sitting in a janitor's closet able to tell you about these things. Surprisingly, there are no cameras in here, so I am able to freely talk about SCPs and the like. They are classified as safe, but unfortunately, these little guys aren't kept at the site. As I mentioned before, the one is a mustard yellow, while the other is a burnt orange color. At the base of each of them is a wheel-like protrusion which allows them to move around freely. This suggests that they are some sort of little machine in nature. They can also move incredibly fast for being so small, covering about 200 feet in a matter of seconds. However, they do not have a braking system. It was so funny. Gary told me about a mishap when he was gathering information about these guys for me. One of the D-class personnel was carrying a plate full of food back to their containment when one of the iPods came zooming down the hallway, and tripping the personnel and the food landed right on their head. What I wouldn't give to actually see that. That would have been hilarious. But they are free to roam around the site. They are free to roam around Site 19 though. That is as long as they don't go into any restricted areas or attempt to leave the site. And you can talk to them, interact with them casually, but it is recommended to keep it to a minimum so that way they don't get attached to personnel. And becoming attached to personnel is quite dangerous because it could pose a distraction during delicate operations and experiments, and may pose a danger to the subject themselves. If they are ignored by their bonded target long enough, they will eventually get bored and go back to whatever they were doing. They even give gifts to those they've had bad relationships with as an attempt to fix any disagreements. They value ending things positively and possess high emotional intelligence and empathy. They are known to hold an attachment to certain toys as well as human beings, mainly a monkey plushie that the medical department personnel had given them. They often get restless when it's taken away. and depending on their mood, they may either share or not with other instances of SCP-131. They are known to act friendly and hold a bond with those who possess or give the item in question. It should also be said that they don't require any real care or maintenance from the site staff. They don't eat, leave droppings, or even sleep. It would seem that the only sustenance that is needed is just visual stimulation. They are held within site data in a personalized containment chamber. The chamber itself is a standard transition area for briefing and spectating. The interior is designed as a playground, fit with a carpet, racetrack, tubes, and a ramp. Do you guys remember having those as kids? I know I did. I absolutely loved it growing up with my little brother. We had little cars that we raced around and crashed into each other at intersections. But keep that kind of stuff on the carpet track and not the actual road, though. But the design of the containment chamber is meant to appease the SCP and its playful nature. They always have a safe place for them to go, even when they have free roam privileges. SCP-131 is a well-understood one in terms of research. There are low barriers to be able to test on them, making it easily and frequently tested by newer personnel. They cannot be angered to the point of breaching, though. They can be angered by getting attacked or stomped on, but in most cases, SCP-131 will just simply run away from its antagonizers. And during raids, however, it provides raiders points to lead it out of its containment chamber. For this, you simply just ask it to follow you out of its containment chamber, but if it fails, ask to race to the end of the containment room or simply try to befriend it. I would love to be these little guys' friends, but me being on Site 30, I'm unable to get in contact with these little guys. They're checked on every hour just to make sure they're not getting themselves into trouble. And if their presence is unaccounted for, a level 1 lockdown is needed. Any report of abuse or mistreatment of these little guys will result in a harsh reprimand. I don't know who'd want to hurt them, honestly. I mean, just look at them. They're so freaking cute. Talking about danger sense, there was word of these little guys saving 3 personnel. A cleaner and 2 other personnel were tasked to clean SCP-173's containment. SCP-131A and B rushed in before them just to simply sit and stare intently at SCP-173. I think they knew that it couldn't move if it was being observed. I've done a case about this SCP, and if you haven't seen that yet, be sure to go check that one out as well. It has been said that the iPods are kind of like wardens for SCP-173, and perhaps other SCP that require constant observation. They are super helpful around the site from what I hear. This is definitely something, guys. I hope you enjoyed this case, and I hope you learned something. And the moral of the story is don't drive tired and keep your eyes peeled. And let us know in the comments about your thoughts and feelings and what SCP you'd like to see in a case file for the next case. Be safe, courteous, and polite out there. Until next time, and remember, stay anomalous. Go.